So that's like where it starts being totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Steiner.
Yeah. And they were like,
But the culture is great. Then you get
I think he has to come
the
get
culture and then see the wine makes you look rad because you know.
So fancy. Yeah.
please enter.
So we on the west facing
Later on is a true factory, let's say. Here on the ground floor you see all the R&D, and then on the second floor there is all the logistics, accounting, financial side of the things.
Can we see that?
Of course you can.
Explain a little bit how we choose, or not we, how the founder choose the brand name, how we came to the logo, and why we are here anyhow. So everything started, let's say, shortly after 1945, so when the Second World War was over. Toni Steiner, the founder of the company, returned back to his hometown Mittersill, and his father had a carpentry shop. And yeah, the father was still somewhere around. You know, after the war, it was everything super strange. And he returned and took over this small company. It is the building, when you entered the company, the old wood building, it's still the first family house. Yeah, and what happened? 1 or 2 years later, Toni started to build his own skis. The first skis, you know, the pure 100% wood-made skis with some kind of screws, binding plates, whatever they used at that time, with the leather climbing shoes on, to make skis. Why he did it? It was not the meaning or not the intention to make a sporting tool. The idea was to use it for working issues. So within the mountains, the people had to move from one small town to the other, or being working in the woods or somewhere around. So in the first period, it was more a tool for the people. But super quickly, it turned out that skiing is also something for your leisure time, for your free time. The people had a little bit more money, the infrastructure were growing year by year, and so Toni made a big decision. 1953, he decided to focus 100% on making skis. This was the first time when all the people said, okay, now this guy is going crazy, because he had a company who runs quite well, and you know, traditional, working with wood, it's solid, so no risky situation, and he wanted to try something totally new. But there was one issue. On the first handmade, self-made skis, he was just writing with a pen his family name, Steiner. The last name was written there, and this was super fine for all the people here in the region. So immediately realized, Toni from Mittersill making good quality skis. But in his vision, he wanted to sell the skis also not just here in the region, also in Italy, in France, or this crazy US somewhere far, far away. So this was the big vision from him. So he was looking for a brand name. We all know when we would search for a brand name today, thanks God it's an issue of the product managers, it's a super complex process. You need agencies, you need lawyers, you need to check, you need to find a name which fits to the product and everything, and it's a long-term process. At the end, Toni made his life super easy. They had 7 employees at that time, so they decided they do a kind of brainstorming event. The brainstorming event was quite easy. They went down to the schnapps cellar, so they have for sure some nice moments there. And the only thing what was clear in the beginning, the name has to be something, an English word. Because after the war it turned out that English was one of the main spoken languages in the world. So it was clear that they have to use an English word. The problem was that no one of them was able to speak English. So they put a dictionary and was looking for something with snow, skis, whatever. But if you translate from German to English, ski, ski, so not a big difference. So they were trying, Schnee, snow, okay, a little bit of differentiation, but not sexy. You can't let snow on ski, so Yeah, and then they stopped at Blizzard, the snowstorm, and they said, that's cool. The name is powerful, it has a meaning, and a word with double set inside isn't typical for German language. So it's something that stays in your mind, and because we do not have any other words with this view. So they decided, okay, let's go for Blizzard, but as they are not used to talk English, they said, okay, it's written Blizzard. This is how we are still pronouncing the name in the German-speaking area. And they already brought the first logo. So it's the cloud with the lightning outside, which symbolizing the snowstorm. For sure, over the decades, over the years, it got more simplification. But still today, you have this kind of the cloud with the lightning outside, which still is connected to the original 1953 logo artwork. Yeah, what happens then? So the brand was born 1953. Now he wanted to differentiate a little bit from the other brands because there were also other companies around, smaller ones who were trying to make skis. He immediately realized, okay, if I want to be ideally the market leader, I need to be innovative, I need to invest in the product. So what he did was simply trying to using different materials. So he super fast, he started to using plastic layers, he was using epoxy glue and so on. And he started to press the first skis. So in the mid-50s he started already pressing skis. You can see here, this is the first model, how thick this model was, and then with this new technology, pressing skis are getting lighter, faster, more stable. So this was, let's say, the first really innovative model. Yeah. This was one of the most selling skis in our area in the 60s. After the construction and the base, he was thinking, okay, now I have a cool technology base, but I need to find an additional value for my skis. Until that date, you can see, the skis were, let's say, pretty boring. One color, a few stickers, and that's it. So we invented here in Mittersill the silk screen printing technology for skis. Blizzard was the first brand in the world who was able to bring designs on a ski. It wasn't possible before, so they made this crazy design. They call it the total look. This was the first ski ever made with a printed design on top. That's awesome. So the next, let's say, big innovation out of Mittersill here. Now we have the brand, we have the technology, we have the design. So ready to grow. And this happened. So over the years and years, the company grew and grew every year. So first they started in the small house. So if we turn a little bit around to see here these pictures, this was the house where they started. Already 53, they found the brand. Then they built this first, let's say, warehouse in the backyard, like it's usual when you build a company. Then you had the first factory building, which already 25 employees. And then the only thing what was missing was the proof that the products are the best products out there. How he can prove it? With athletes. So he chose some athletes, gave them some skis, and already 58, the first world champion title, the gold medal on Blizzard skis. Then it started to grow and grow again. So if you look at the years, 55, you had 25 employees. 1960, already 100 employees and 20,000 pairs of skis made every year. So the growth of the company was incredible. Within 5 years, 4 times the people and so on and so on. Then this continues. So then 64, the first gold medal at the Olympic Games. Then they started to using again different materials. They were starting to make skis with PU core, with foam core. This was super innovative at that time. This was especially the time, end of the 60s, where this new plastic material was popular all over the world, and everyone tried to make everything out of plastic. Then again, 1970, 300 employees, 150,000 pairs of skis every year. So again, a huge growth. And then he decided, okay, because he always tried to add a few meters on the buildings, so the house where he lived, then the first part, the second part, and then he decided in 1970, okay, now let's go big or go dying. So he built the whole factory here in nearly the dimension what we have now. This was the second time when all the people around Mittersill say, okay, now he's totally lost everything of his mind, because this is a huge project. It took 4 years to build the factory in that dimension. And he was planning to have this factory in at that time he was thinking about, okay, that's it. After this, I will never grow again. 1975, the building was too small again, because then we had 5 years later 600 employees, 360,000 pairs of skis. So it's amazing. So why this happened? Because skiing was super popular at that time. Everyone wanted to go skiing. The hotels were growing, ski resorts were growing, lifts were built. Everything was just in the growing mode. So it was the golden area, always combined with race success. So the brand was really driven about the race history. And now if we go back to the Wall of Fame, you can see here the most iconic products of this time in the 70s, the legendary Firebird. The Thermo Ski, the first and only temperature-controlled ski in the world. The Quattro, which means temperature-controlled. What does it mean? It means if it's colder outside, the ski is getting stiffer. When it's warmer outside, the ski is getting softer. With this B-metal construction, this was possible. And then combined with a left and right construction, you can see the sales tool was printed on the ski. So the construction of the ski was divided. So the outside and inside. Also they have the perfect steering and everything. So that's also the reason why they call it Quattro, because it has 4 sections of the skis. This was the time when Franz Klammer was at this peak of his career. And this was also the time when a racer won on your brand. Immediately the people ran into the shops and wanted to buy the skis. So 1984, again a big success for our brand. Triple victory at the Hahnenkamm race in Kitzbühel. No brand ever achieved it before. So really the next day they went crazy to ship these thermo skis to the shops outside. It was a crazy time. They made money like hell. Then again, the next next step was late 80s, beginning of 90s. Another innovation of Blizzard was the first ski ever made pre-mounted with a plate right from the factory. Until that time, skis were shipped flat, without binding, without any plate. Again, we were the first company ever who shipped plates together with the skis. Why we made it? Because we figured out, this is why we call it absorber, because it makes it more stable. You have another position of the point of standing on the skis, so it had again huge benefits for the consumer outside. Then again, we had also different type of plates, adaptive plates. So again, the first big step into that direction made here in Mittersill. Then, in the middle of the 90s, there was, let's say, a critical time for the whole industry. So many brands and companies had big issues. Why? Because consumers were in the meaning, okay, the ski does not change, which wasn't true, but at the end, if you look over decades, they were slim, always 200 centimeters, 205, 210, and it was always the same. And people were starting, okay, maybe they are cheating on us, maybe they just paint them every year in another color and selling us the old thing for something new. But this was the meaning of the consumer. And especially in Europe, the snow situation in the beginning of the 1990s wasn't that good. So we have 2 or 3 winters with less snow, and this caused really problems within the ski industry. Thanks God, there was a new innovation called the carving ski. So we brought the first carving model in the mid of the 90s. And this little bit, let's say, marked the turnaround of the next area or next generation skiing, also for the younger target user. we can see easily skis are getting shorter and shorter, wider, more shaped. So this was the new way of building skis. You can also see here that the technology behind making skis changed a little bit from the sidewall construction, especially in the 90s, beginning of the 2000s. Cap skis were super famous, so the industry invested a lot. For getting back to the sandwich construction 10 years later. So at the end, but it turned out that this was a nice try. They were super popular, but at the end, the construction, like they invented in the 50s, 60s, at the end say, okay, that's the best way. Here we joined the Tecnica Group. So until 2006, we were, let's say, totally standalone here in Mittersill. So we had the R&D, the logistic, the design, the production, everything what you need to run a company was based here in Mittersill, and we were still focused on making skis. So we had no ski boots, no bindings. We didn't have any product to sell in summer, so not that best situation for a company. So 2006, Gianluca came from the Tecnica Group and let's say took us over. And then again, he invested a lot. Why he bought us or why he was so interested in buying this factory, because he was one of the guys who really saw the value. He saw the factory, he knew the brand quite well, also from his career. He saw the enthusiasm and everything of the people here, because all the people really love to make skis. We are totally crazy when it's outside 35 degrees and more in summer, and we are laying somewhere on the beach or on the lake. We are always thinking with one half of the brain on skiing. So yes, I know we are crazy, but at the end, this is what we really like to do. And yeah, that's the reason why Gianluca wanted to invest here. So now, yeah, let's say more than 15, also nearly 20 years, we are now part of the group. And this is the reason why we can also now offer the whole package. And what was also a little bit changing in our mind is that we were really focusing back in the days on the narrow-waisted skis, on the race area, and then we decided to also invest a little bit in the wider ones, which was not the worst decision in the last years. Yeah, that was the super quick introduction on the history of the company. I could do this for even 2 hours more, but then these guys will kill me. So let's stop here. If you have any questions, I'm here anyhow. Did I miss anything? I hope not. No. I think these were the most important steps. I think not all of you ever had the chance to look inside a ski factory. So I would say enjoy it. It's amazing. It's amazing how many people we need to make the skis. It's amazing that even if it's the year 2024, there is no machine where you just push the button and at the end there will pop out one final ski. So I hope you can enjoy like we are doing.
Basically, as you will see in the factory, this is pretty much in the same way. I will assemble the ski pretty much in the same way that the guys do at the factory, meaning starting from the bottom up to the top floor. So, starting from the bottom, of course, the first layer is the running base, which is P-Tex, which is sintered polyethylene. Is the most commonly used material in the industry due to its super good gliding performances. Here we have two different type of P-Tex, black and orange. The difference is that the black one has more graphene inside, which ensure a better glide on snow. Then, second layer is the steel edges that are made out of spring steel. Use that specific type of steel because it's very flexible and it's easy to handle, and also is has good impact absorbing properties. So it's quite good for the purpose of being a steel edge on the ski. Then we have the first layer of titanium, which is a full layer in a 0.4 millimeter thickness. So it's very flexible and quite light.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. It's in full length and full width size. This is in order to ensure enough stability and edge grip to the ski. Then we have, of course, the wood core, which in this case is the true blend all mountain wood core, which is a combination of beech that you see here in darker color and poplar. I don't know if you're familiar with the true blend technology, but basically all the ski manufacturer play with the different type of woods toward the width of the core. Well, with true blend, we are, which is patented by Blizzard, we are able also to play with the composition of the wood core through its length. So as you can see here, we have more beech in the central area. This to ensure a stiffer flex that deliver better control under the binding area. We have then two intermediate areas where we have a little less beech in order to have this medium flex zone, and then we have a soft flex zone on tip and tail in order to have a very smooth through initiation, a smooth through release, and in order to ensure a very round flex to the ski. Then we have the sidewalls that you will see later in the factory. Usually here in Mittersill, we apply the sidewalls before getting into the mold. In this specific case, we're talking about Anomaly 84 that is produced in our Ukraine facility in Chop, and they don't have the machine to glue the sidewalls before getting into the mold, so they do it right on the mold. So here we are, of course, missing few layers of glue that goes in between the different layers. I don't have them right now, right here, because I will then make a
They're on
mess
that board.
on this table. Yeah. But you can see them outside on the board. Then we have tail protector with a additional rubber layer which help in absorbing the impact on the tail of the ski. On the tip we have what we call the tip inlay, which is made out of ABS, the first layer of ABS, which is the same material used on the sidewalls. Then we have a layer of rubber and a layer of fleece, that is basically paper with epoxy resin mixed together, and then which then gets activated by the heat of the press.
And what does the fleece do?
What?
What's the fleece's function?
It's a support for the epoxy resin.
Okay.
Because in this factory we work only with the pre-preg technology, which is basically a sheet of either fiberglass or carbon fiber that is pre-impregnated with epoxy resin.
Okay.
So here we have this tip reinforcement. Then, as you can see here, we have this layer of prepreg, which is biaxial fiberglass. So the cool thing about composite material that really they allow you to play with the weave and the material that you use. So you can get basically any type of performance that you want. So we have this first prepreg insert that goes into the binding area when we need it, because in order to meet the only requirement that the skis have in terms of safety, which is the binding retention strength. So we had this layer in order to play it on the safe side, in order to not only meet the certification requirement, but also to deliver even a safer product than requested. Then we have the flux form unmounted technology that you see here, which basically we've taken the top layer of titanal, which in this case is 0.6. You can see that it's quite stiffer in comparison to the bottom 0.4 millimeter layer. And we have splitted it into 3 different stripes. This is because we wanted to deliver a ski that has the double titanal construction horsepowers, but at the same time we wanted to deliver a little bit more playfulness into the torsional flex side of things. So by splitting this top layer into 3 stripes, the ski has delivered a little bit more playfulness. We are also placing these 3 stripes at 2 different levels. So here we have another layer of prepreg, which is fiberglass with epoxy resin. And then on top of it, we have the 2 additional stripes.
Also 0.6.
Yeah, also 0.6. This because, so basically the wood core represent the neutral axis of the ski. Everything you put into the neutral axis has a very little mechanical effect on the behavior of the ski. And the more you get away from the neutral axis, the more you will feel the benefit of the material. So by doing this, we making it straight to the point, you feel more these 2 stripes into the behavior on the ski while you're skiing. And we decided to split this into 2 different layers because having a complete layer right under the prepreg would have not made it feel so much the titanal as we wanted. On the opposite, by putting the titanal, all the titanal on top of the prepreg will have make the benefit of the titanal too aggressive into the behavior of the ski. So by playing with these 2 different layers, we managed to get the performance right on point. And then, last but not least, we have the top foil, which is basically a polyurethane sheet that is then printed through a digital printer, which is basically the same as the printer that you might have at home or at the office, just in a bigger scale, and that it's capable to print on plastic.
Cool. Sick.
Question, doubts, whatever?
So for flux form, you probably made a bunch of prototypes where there was like a full layer on top and it was just too rigid, and that's what made you break it up, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the flux form was first born on Rustler, on which we had only the 2 stripes and a central piece underneath the bindings, but the concept is basically pretty much the same. So we have the 2 stripes right underneath the top foil, then a layer of fiberglass, and then the central piece.
Okay.
Still to deliver the same behavior. So when we started the development of Anomaly, we kind of already knew that this was in the right direction of what we wanted to get, but at the same time we had a goal to deliver a full double titanal ski.
Right.
So we could say that we started right from the beginning with this type of configuration. We just played with different titanal thicknesses and we kind of made few trials with the central stripes on top and the two side stripes on the bottom, and then we ended up deciding that this was the way to go.
Cool.
Then, for what concerns Black Pearl, so the concept is very similar, but of course, as a part of the Women to Women project, the Black Pearl needed a women-specific construction. And we ended up with this construction by doing a lot of different iteration, and it took pretty much 1 full year of ski testing, with not performed by us, but performed by our Women to Women focus groups, both in Europe and in the US, and everything was coordinated by Leslie, which is our Women to Women project leader. So at the end of the process, this is the construction that the women decided to be the way to go. So still starting from the bottom, we have the same running base, Sintred Pitex. Then we have same steel edges. And this is where the construction started to become different. So here, instead of the 0.4 millimeter titanal, we have a first layer of prepreg, which is quad axial fiberglass reinforced with carbon fiber. This is because, as you see here,
Quad, so it's running
so it's
diagonal and
Yeah.
that's cool.
is 90, 0, and plus minus
Yeah,
30.
30.
Plus, yeah, plus this monoaxial carbon fibers.
Yeah.
So a stronger prepreg. This because by removing the bottom layer of titanal, we still needed to have something that could deliver the horsepower that ripping women's need.
Is that to make it lighter or to make it like softer longitudinal?
Softer, mostly softer, in order to deliver a softer flex, because as a matter of fact, women skiers are lighter than male skiers, so we needed to remove a little bit of that. Then we have the wood core, that still is the unmounted declination of the true blend, but in a dedicated thickness profile, still in order to have a better targeted flex of the ski. So construction and wood densities is exactly the same. What changed is the high cut. Then still tape protector and rubber reinforcement. Same goes for the tip, ABS, fleece, rubber, and ABS. Interesting about the tip reinforcement is that we are currently running a lot of intensive testing in order to replace the ABS of the tip protector with material that is sourced through our RYB program. So is the Recycle Your Boot program that is running right now in Europe, on which basically allow us to recollect old boots from shop, from any brand, not just ours. And we are then able to dismantle them and get back the raw materials. And we are using we are trying to use plastic that comes from ski boots in order to use it on the tip reinforcement of our skis. The plan is to have this project fully implemented on time for fall winter 25. Then, also in this case, we have binding reinforcement. And then we have the flex form that, in this case, we have, then the women construction is featuring 0.4 millimeter titanol. Still, in order to deliver a softer flex. Then we have the clipper. The two stripes of 0.4 titanol. And then the top foil. Ready for the press?
I think you can just employ us out there. Like,
Yeah.
we know what to do now.